One Battle After Another is truly one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I think it is truly such a counter revolutionary movie in a way to de radicalize people. And so I'm coming from this from a perspective of like, I have been like organizing in leftist spaces for the past like 5 or 6 years. And that is just to say that I'm looking at this movie as a very, very mischaracterized impression of leftist spaces. I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson did any research whatsoever. It doesn't seem like he talked to like a single leftist person. And I think an obvious red flag of the movie is that it's supposed to be like a radical movie, like take down the government, the establishment, but he cast like several Zionists in the movie. So that just shows off the bat Paul Thomas Anderson doesn't know what it means to be radical. So the first part of the movie follows Teyana Taylor and Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and they're part of this group called like the French 95, which I'm assuming is supposed to be like the Weather Underground. They're like blowing up federal buildings and like freeing people out of like ICE detention centers. And then they get caught because they're robbing a bank, and Teyana Taylor's character is given the opportunity to not go to jail for like 30-40 years if she rats out everyone in this group. And she does. And a lot of her comrades are either killed or arrested, and some get away, like Leonardo DiCaprio and their baby. So she flees to Mexico, and then the movie jumps to like 16 years later, and all this shit is coming up again. They have to flee because now the government is after them again. And that's kind of, the movie. So I think this is just like there's so many issues, so many issues with this movie. Beyond the fact that Paul Thomas Anderson is not funny. He tries to make so many jokes that are literally all cringy. Literally all of them. So I just feel like the moral of the story here is that if you take action, it will fuck up your entire life. It doesn't matter if you become like not even leftist anymore. Like Leonardo DiCaprio's character at this point doesn't even remember any of the passcodes. He's not a part of leftist spaces at all anymore. He's actually like seems more conservative leaning at that point. So it shows that even if you're so far removed from these spaces, it will still fuck up your life, and it will mess up your kid's life too. So I feel like that kind of incentivizes people to not want to take action. And I also think that the fact that Teyana Taylor character rats all of her friends out, and then also another character later when he's interrogated also rats people out. I just think that it shows that don't join these spaces, because even if you trust these people with your life and they're your best friend, they will still rat you out. That's not how shit works. So I think that's so inaccurate and really dangerous, because it shows that, you can't organize because you can't trust these people, I also really hate how they like sexualize like activism, and it really bothers me because I'm like, activism is serious. It felt gross to me and like fetishizy of like leftism, especially as like Paul Thomas Anderson obviously is not a part of these places nor really cares about these spaces. And honestly, like I didn't even think that the cinematography nor the soundtrack was particularly interesting. That's why I just don't think there's anything redeeming about this movie at all. I also just think that the dialogue was incredibly shallow. Just one example out of many is when Teyana Taylor's character wants to go to an action and Leonardo DiCaprio is like, you can't do that anymore, you have a kid. And they don't really have a discussion about it. She's just kind of like, I have to do this for me. And so she goes. But I think that's such a missed opportunity to have a really important discussion. But what do you do if you're in a movement, which is your life and you're so passionate about it, but then you have a kid and you have to think about your safety now in a different kind of way? Or she didn't even make the case that like she has to go do these actions to make her daughter's life a better world. It's also like 3 hours long and feels so pretentious. Fuck this movie, honestly.